RAB was on the ground at NAB Show 2026 in Las Vegas. The convention brought together nearly 60,000 attendees, including over 1,100 exhibitors, alongside high-profile keynote speakers and forward-looking sessions spanning broadcasting, media, advertising, and entertainment. The conversation throughout the week for radio was clear. The medium continues to evolve. The new opportunities and a shared commitment to moving forward with one voice. We are excited to share the latest Radio on Main Street podcast series, featuring conversations with leading voices across the industry. Explore perspectives on advertising and sales, digital, innovation, AI, storytelling, content creation, community service, and philanthropy. And you will hear firsthand the passion that is driving their work, along with their outlook on what's ahead for radio. We find ourselves in the middle of the floor at NAB 2006, and look who we find. Mo, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us at RAB.
Well, Mike, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
You received an award earlier this day. What's that mean when people recognize the work that you do?
I was kind of surprised that I was getting an award, and then I was very touched when I read both the letter and the kind of the testimonials from people who presumably decided to award me this, and I thought, wow, they get me. And it's always interesting, I suppose, to hear somebody else's take on what you do. It kind of helps synthesize it, because sometimes I myself, I'm so in it, I can't make the connections between the different things that I do. So I'm happy that the NAB helped me do that.
Well, justly honored and well-deserved.
Thank you.
At RAB, we spend a lot of time thinking about storytelling. We think about platform, and radio today is not microphone to transmitter to receiver. The platforms we use, which you spend a lot of time on with podcasting, so from streaming into digital, into video, and all of the other ways that we tell stories. And I think at the very core, people say, well, radio is the original influencer. I also believe we are the original electronic storyteller. Mm-hmm. You're a storyteller. How do you put those two together?
Well, it's funny that you're asking me about this, because I'm in the middle of doing a piece for CBS Sunday Morning about the history of CBS Radio, which is ending after 99 years. And some of it we're still clarifying right now. But reading about 1938 in Austria, when Edward R. Murrow helped put together, which is what is arguably the precursor, even sort of the template for the newscasts of today, is a reminder of how extraordinarily important radio has been to electronic media, and how using only audio focuses your creative faculties in a certain way that's very, very powerful, and something that I think I've experienced doing my podcast. Listen, it's all audio. Radio is here to stay, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah.
Obituaries mean something to you.
Yeah.
I share that with you. My wife says, you read obituaries of people you don't know. Why? And I say the answer is because there are so many stories to be discovered. What about you?
I agree with that. I think there are a couple of reasons that I know. My father, who was the great obit reader in my life, and I read obits. I think there's almost sort of a daily reflection reading about somebody's life. You know, I think there also can be, they have a teaching element. Oh, what did she do at this juncture in her life? And then you read on, aha, this. And then I think there's a kind of admittedly competitive element sometimes I'll read an obit and I'll say, oh my gosh, he did all of that by the time he was 23. What did I do when I was 23? And then you get to the next paragraph and go, oh, but then he was arrested for embezzling, so I'm back ahead of him. So there's a kind of a funny sort of thing going on there.
How many arrests on embezzlement make it to obituaries?
Right.
That's a family. You want to know what's going on inside that family.
Well, the Gotti family obituaries, right? So.
Well, I'm a storyteller personally, and at a recent board meeting of our organization, I introduced, and we have an audio-video component to today, but I saw this obituary, and the woman's name is Alma Johnson, and she looks like my grandmother, and it pulled me in. So I read the obituary. She passed away in October of 2023 at the age of 101. And then when I read it, it was a life-changing obituary. I'm just going to share the key takeaway from her life. This is just a sweet lady. Kokomo, Indiana. And I know Indiana runs through I live in Indianapolis, and it runs through your story. But Alma, in her obituary, there were 250 people mentioned in her obituary, not by name, but in recognizing children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, spouses, etc. There was almost 250 people mentioned, and what drew me into this was the legacy and impact that this sweet little old lady had. Decades will go by before she's forgotten.
Well, that's right, because most people are forgotten pretty quickly. And I love that her name is Alma, which in Spanish means soul, because that there clearly is a lot of soul there. And when I saw that she's 101, I also am reminded of Laura Ingalls Wilder, who was featured in another book I co-wrote, Octogenarians, celebrating late in life achievers. And Laura Ingalls Wilder was really in dire straits, kind of in her middle age financially, and her own daughter said, your life is an epic. You're not famous, but your life, you were there for, the pioneers, the frontiersmen, the development of small towns into cities, the closing of the frontier, this great chapter in American life. And your life itself spans that, has a sweep. And she really, and then she also told her, incidentally, go and write your life story as if you're only writing it for yourself, as if you're writing a diary entry. And that gave us the Little House books. But yes, this woman clearly has a great legacy.
Without question.
Yeah.
You said radio will never die. It will never go away. You're doing the piece on CBS, and certainly there's some disruption along the way. But what would you tell our audience about the ability to connect to stories, to past, and to future, and what platforms may be there for us in the future?
Well, I mean, specifically, if we're talking specifically about audio, I mean, one of the things I've learned, doing a lot of television, but also doing podcasts, is that television just involves a lot of hardware, less and less, but still a lot. So it's not easy to achieve a kind of intimacy and to get people to open up when they're just surrounded by lots of people and things. But if it's just you and a microphone, people are more likely to open up to you. So there's that, which is, I think, why we'll always have audio, and also because commute times aren't getting any shorter.
Right.
And no one should be watching TV from behind the wheel.
Well, if you look at your Wikipedia page and you look at your bio and you see all these amazing things, a question that I like to ask people that I engage with is, what is the thing that you're most proud of that will never appear on a resume?
Well, I can tell you what I'm least proud of on my Wikipedia page is the picture of me. I don't think I'm a model, but I look truly ghastly. And so if anyone is listening here and is adept at Wikipedia, could you please, actually, if somebody could just take a picture of me now and just post that as because there's an issue. Hi, let me just, hold on. She's like, okay.
We have people that can do that.
Okay, really, because I do not know what is going. I mean, I look like my face is melting. I look like one of the, at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when they open the Ark and their faces melt. That's what I look like, and I do not look like that now. So, all right, I'm not Prince Machiavelli, if anyone remembers that. But yeah, are you looking right now? She's looking right now.
Well, she'll fix it for you.
And
Don't
you're
worry
horrified.
about that.
You're like 18 years old. I know you can get on. You could like fix this. Okay. You're 20. Sorry. Okay, but you look like you're 18, and so you could probably go on there with a click of the finger, right, and just do it right away. So what was the question?
Well, the question I was talking about the one thing that you're most proud of that will never appear in your resume.
Oh.
You got sidetracked down the Wikipedia Facebook
that will
thing.
never appear on my resume. Oh, I am proud of being called back for the Broadway role of Leo Bloom in The Producers and being called back and auditioning in front of Mel Brooks. So I've never been prouder of something I didn't get than the fact that I walked in, like out of an old movie, walking into a room where there was a piano and a table with about 30 people, all these producers. In the middle of it, like a Buddha sitting there, was Mel Brooks. And I looked up to sing my song, and I was so stunned I didn't realize he'd be there that I actually had to get them to start the song again. But I got through it, and I just thought, I just auditioned at a callback for Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that's the achievement. You know, also, going on David Letterman during his last months and killing it. I did really well. And a friend of mine who was on the show afterwards saying to me, "You did great." Letterman turned to me and said, "I'll talk to him anytime." And that was pretty great. Yeah.
Look how Indiana...
And a friend of mine that I went with, I was so nervous before I went on, and my friend Gideon, who was my producer on My Grandmother's Ravioli, on my cooking show, said to me, I said, "I'm so nervous." And he said, "But just think, you can say that you went on David Letterman's show." And I remember that, and my heart rate immediately slowed because he made me, the lens widened out. And I was no longer so tight inside of there. It widened out, and I went, this is a really cool life experience. I can say that I did this thing. And that, yeah.
I love how Indiana went through this conversation.
Back home again in Indiana.
That's coming up quickly. The sweet lady from Kokomo, David Letterman from Indianapolis, went to Ball State in Muncie. Jane Pauley is absolutely pure.
And I love peonies, the state flower of Indiana.
You have so much knowledge. And then in your previous podcast that you did from this location with Chachi, you referenced Benjamin Harrison. I mean, and look at all those Indiana connections.
All those Indiana connections, the old north side, a beautiful section of Indianapolis. Indianapolis is great. Indianapolis, it's so interesting. When I did for Super Bowl 40 for Jay Leno, I did a piece that was a lot of fun, a media day, when it was the Seahawks. Was it the Seahawks? Am I making?
No, it was the Giants. If it was the Indianapolis Super Bowl, Giants Patriots in Indy.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking. Yeah, that was Super Bowl 41. I think maybe. Okay. No, I was thinking of. Sorry, it was the Seahawks and the Steelers. Sorry, forget it. It had nothing to do with Indianapolis. But I do love how many bike paths there are in Indy. I remember that. I had to memorize Indianapolis facts or something. And I will say also, the original One Day at a Time did a grave injustice to Indianapolis because the opening credits made Indianapolis look so grimy, so sooty. And when I first went to Indianapolis and saw that amazing Civil War memorial in that circle, it's a beautiful city.
The Chamber of Commerce needs to talk to you.
Yeah.
Mo, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I love the line, radio will never die. All of the ways we connect. You're a storyteller. We're a storyteller. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been a real pleasure.